Welcome. I'm Dawn Marie Sargent. This is True to Blueprint. Now this has been for a thing about music a lot of the times. There's been no music. So starting very soon, hopefully next show, we're going to have a theme song. And I think you're going to like it. I'll definitely use it to my advantage. And that's all I'm going to tell you about it right now. Today, Mary's going to ask me some questions that reflect the questions that I most often have to answer, but don't always get a chance to answer exactly the question. So if I write the questions too, then it's like talking to myself. And obviously, I really like talking to myself. So I felt I like it so much, I need to show other people how much fun I have talking to myself. Okay.
Speaking of flimsy news sources,
Yeah.
why have Leafs fans become so reliant on them and not trusting their own hockey knowledge?
Well, I think social media brings a slew of them that weren't there before. I think there's just so many more than there were. But I also think that in the past, because the bloggers and people who have newsletters and things like that there's been so much of it that it actually seemed like if you paid attention to one, you too could find out what the Maple Leafs were doing, when really every possibility, every contingency was covered in those. So of course you thought you were helping. It doesn't help. It hurts. But we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Have the fans been encouraged to believe the bloggers?
Oh, I think so. I think that the more amount of disinformation previous management and management around the league who's done by people who have no idea how to build a winning hockey team, I think they do encourage it. I think they know that if you're busy with that, you're not really paying attention. And if you're building a team haphazardly with little to no care what the success rate is, which is how the Maple Leafs were managed until Shanahan got there, then they're going to want you to believe in all these fairy tales, magical thinking, etc. like that.
What is character in the plan?
Okay, character is very central to the plan. And a lot of people think this has more to do with loose rules about facial hair, about using numbers that aren't just, heck, that's my favorite number. I don't care if it's 4,776,343. It's my number. No, your number has to be within a certain boundary. And as you retire numbers, you're going to have people in the 40s and 50s with numbers. But that's not what the character is. Neither is the ability to stand in front of the mirror every day and shave. The character issue is about treating your job like you're a professional. And too often, Maple Leafs have gone in and barely tried and gone to the bar and been rock stars. Can't be lauded by a knowing and caring and involved group of people. If everybody is approaching this with professionalism, the fans will call that bullshit. Their professional fanness will not allow them to tolerate you putting in a half-assed effort on the ice and coming to the bar expecting everybody to buy you a drink. It's not going to happen. And if you don't put a premium on that at the lowest level to the highest, widest level, then nothing's ever going to get better. You act like many of you, not all of you, gotta say, a few of you really smart people. And you know who you are because I tell you all the time you're geniuses. But this belief that somehow this isn't hurting anybody, that it's harmless. It's harmless, harmless, harmless. No, it's not harmless. Any one of these rules, if it is a rule that you must have facial hair or can have facial hair, despite what that does to uniform, which is the reason it exists the way it is, the only way you can ask all men's faces to be uniform is to say you can't have any facial hair, because that's the only way for it to be equal. That's the point. You're a player. You're not a star. Your team is the star. You are a player. Okay.
How does all this work for the fans changing, and who do you think that Shanahan expects to change?
Well, I think Shanahan expects to change the world. I really do. And he at least expects to change all of the Toronto Maple Leaf fan base, from the little babies in the crib to the people like me who are really old, okay? We need to change. We're hurting our team. We're hurting our team with this. There's no doubt about it. If I read things or you read things and we react to it, we may be able to get on with it, but that factoid, that idea, that rumor, that lie, that blog is still in the back of our mind. Once it's in the back of your mind, it's acting on you. Whether you can say, oh, I'm doing that because I read a blog. No. But it affects your behavior. You would never want to admit it. You would never notice it until you've been through a lot of it. But you get on the other side of it and you find out you're acting the way everybody expected you to act. That's really not cool. Like I said, Jake Gardner, man, he must not have electricity in his house, because that guy, I don't know how he can read this stuff and not have it work away at him. Am I saying Jake's perfect? No, I'm not. But I'm saying we can't even judge Jake until the other 4 people on the ice with him have done their jobs. That's when we'll see how good Jake is. That's when I think pretty much everybody will realize it. And if he turns out that he still looks sometimes like he's lost or undisciplined, then he won't be here anymore. And we won't have to worry about it. We can yell at him when he comes in, but I don't think that's the way it's going to go.
Why do you think that our fearless leader cares about the future this way?
I think he cares about the future because he's seen it. It's an interesting question, because Shanahan has such an interesting background. You look at a guy, he's like all the other players in the front offices, isn't he? He's just a star. Got a job based on being a star. You were on a good team. You probably know how to make a good team. Making a good team has nothing to do with life. Hockey has to stay completely coordinated with the life of people in Ontario, certainly in lower Michigan. I can't speak for the rest of it. In areas where hockey is automatic. It's part of who you are. Even if you don't like it, you say, that's a damn hockey game. He was offside. I hate watching hockey. Okay? These are the people who don't like it. So you change the entire culture so that the hockey can change. And you change the hockey because it always reflects on the culture.
Why does he have to change all that? Why can't he just go in there and build a winner?
Okay, because it's a stairway to heaven. Lots of people can buy a stairway to heaven. That's what the song's about, It's about the fact that we think we know what works. And just one trip to heaven we're going to take. We can just, buy the right rosary, wear the right clothes, go to the right church, say the right readings, and all of a sudden we're going to be saved. That's exactly what Jesus was protesting, if you want to get into it here, when he went to the temple, was the fact that people had to buy something, to sacrifice. Now, the sacrifice for those people was the money, or they could have brought their own animals to sacrifice, doves and lambs. But instead, only the priests could sell you official, licensed sheep to sacrifice, okay? And I mean, what is that? You're not getting to worship God. You're not getting to worship God. You're getting to give over your money for somebody else to do it for you. Okay, we could buy a team. We could go out there and get ourselves people who we know are so good. In fact, I have a theory at the end of the year, when everybody's being rented because their contract ends and they weren't able to make a trade for them or didn't want to, you get all those guys. You're only going to pay them a fraction of what they're worth. Okay, you get rid of your whole team and you get those guys. You have a really good chance. You could buy yourself a Stanley Cup. It's possible to do. But buying a winning, successful franchise is impossible to do. You have to start that before anybody's even put on a pair of skates. They need to know, as a person who's going to play hockey, hopefully for the Toronto Maple Leafs, I need to be a professional. I need to have good character. And I need to find that reflection in the culture at home, the culture at the rink, and the culture on TV when I'm watching the damn Maple Leafs game.
One last thing. What signs do you see of the Led Zeppelining of the Shanahan plan?
Led Zeppelining. of the Shana plan. Well, then we talk about the Shanafesto or something.
Yeah.
In terms of the culture.
That he's the Shanasiah or Shana Messiah.
Shana
To change
Messiah.
the Truda blueprint to
Right.
Shanafesto.
Well, it is very much the idea of winning, the idea of conquering the world. But what's interesting is I don't see anybody even close to understanding how much easier it is to change a culture, to change a fan base, to change a team when you change the symbolism. First thing that happens, symbols and slogans are put everywhere. Concise words outside the door of the dressing room. These were restored. The idea that we need to retire numbers and honor players. Other management around the league thinks, well, that's terrible. You don't want those kids thinking, well, those guys are great. We'll never be like that. No, you stand on the shoulders of giants. That's how it works. Once you see somebody good, you need to be better than that. Is it disrespectful to be better? No, it's exactly how civilization works. The idea that everybody's feelings will be hurt and they just won't feel good about what they do. Yeah, those people get paid a lot and probably won't end up on the Maple Leafs. I'm not saying we'll never pay anybody. But I'm saying that anybody who thinks money is more important than the Stanley Cup really needs to get the hell out of here. This is not what we're about. You got to work on something you love. I love doing the show. I love doing the show. When I worked on TV before, I had to work for other people. I had to clear my notes. I had to have other people tell me what I could talk about. This is for the blueprint, and I'm paying it back because all the things I'm telling you about culture and character, I'm making that happen to my own life. And my own life is finally in my control. So are we about done with the questions here?
Yeah.
Okay, I have things on notes now because I'm sick of misquoting Shakespeare. I'll misquote myself. First of all of this came up today because of a brilliant article written by Paul Michael Kornatz. Kornatz? Yes. And he's my Facebook friend, but he didn't just write this on a post. This is actually an excellent editorial. And a lot of different publications are printing it up. It's coming out. This is, Paul, you did a great job. And the name of the article was, let's see, Why Brendan Shanahan is the Horse You Bet On. Not Kyle Dubas or Mark Hunter. Okay. Shanahan's absolute control, that's another Zeppelin-ness. Okay, Jimmy Page, everybody says, Jimmy Page could have been good or bad at times for Zeppelin. Zeppelin doesn't exist without Jimmy Page, okay? So let's just get over all that crap. Okay, so then we're going to move on to a very important personal note here for me. One of the people I found so wonderful who I've met this year, and somewhat through the show, but also on Facebook, is a wonderful lady called Karen, isn't that nice? Karen Donaldson Serreris, that's it. A lot of A's, a lot of R's. You should see me with banana. Okay, it gets all confused. Karen lost her husband this week. He was truly a soulmate and a partner in life. And I just wanted to offer her all of our love. Because this is an important thing. It's not like any of us are ever not going to be there. So when we have human things in common, we kind of need to be there for each other. So Karen, I love you. You know I love you. And I love your husband because you've let me know who he is. And I can't wait to experience him through you and your family. Okay, the other thing is ALYSSA Hope, wonderful girl, Pittsburgh Penguins fan. Everybody is not perfect. But ALYSSA, this week ALYSSA put out funny things about Ovechkin, 5 fun facts about Ovechkin you don't know, and 5 things about Jonathan Marchessault you don't know. So right leading into the finals here, she's got 2 really excellent features, keep you smiling, and it certainly is stuff you'd be interested in. ALYSSA Hope on YouTube, she's really terrific. I think you will really enjoy that. And now it's time for a quote from Shakespeare, and this is directed at Brendan. okay? Hey, Brendan. Hey, my friend Shakespeare was writing the other day, and like, yo, I said, hey, can you write something for Brendan? And he said, tell Brendan. Don't laugh, he did. That's at least in my head, in the theater of my mind. Be lion mettled, proud, and take no care who chafes, who frets, or where conspirers are. That is, I believe it's from Macbeth, yes. And this is important. I don't think he needs my advice. I think he already would be fine to this advice. But that's what it is. Be lion mettled. Be made like a lion. And don't give a damn what anybody's thinking. Let's go forward. Let's do this thing. Whoa. So we're going to record a song this week. And you might find the tune familiar because I very rarely write the music. I usually take something already written and write new fancy words to it. So we will have that coming up. We have a lot of good fun in the summer. We're going to talk about the Shanahan plan all summer. So please, I put up an email address for the show. It's True to Blueprint. It'll be linked here. And then on Twitter we can do this. We can do this all over the place. Okay? So let's communicate. Let's find out what the real questions are. And then I'll talk about them and create more questions. That's what you do. Okay. Please like, but more so, can we subscribe? I mean, I have 25 subscribers and a whole lot of people who say they'd never miss it. Now, it's more than 25. So please just subscribe, okay? I'm still checking into whether or not there's a problem with notifications on my account. But as far as I can tell, once you respond to the notification a couple times, you'll get all of the notifications. So, like and subscribe and check out ALYSSA Hope and look at the tags I've got here for Twitter and the email address for the show. I'll be starting a Facebook group pretty soon. I want to make sure I have full-time access to a laptop computer and not just my phone, because you all know I sound brilliant, but I type like a monkey got loose in the phone factory, okay? So we're just not going to let that happen anymore. And I respect monkeys' intelligence. They're intelligent enough to go spelling. Who cares? So I will be back. I promise.